What's going on, guys? Oh man, we gotta talk about it. So the last video, I caught a lot of heat, I understand, but I kind of wanted to preference that by saying I was simply just outlining the things that I saw on the Reddit, the official Reddit page when it comes to the E1, man. And a lot of people didn't like that. I did expect there was going to be a level of damage control, and you know, it is what it is. But what I did was I tried to look back as far as like the last 2 days, at least the last 2 days. And today is May 15th, right? So I went back and tried to look through all of the comments on the actual Kickstarter page, and I tried to find like the top 5 things that people are actually complaining about outside of Reddit, outside of Facebook, the Facebook page. And you know, a lot of the things that I mentioned on my first video still seem pretty relevant today. So let's get into it. Number 1, pretty much everybody is still concerned about the consumable cost of the ink. Multiple backers are calculating that a full 600 milliliter bottle from the packs that you can buy is still going to cost around $300 to like $475 plus after the tariffs are applied. That pushes basically the cost per mil to about 80 cents. And if you're running sample jobs, that's about maybe 6 to like 15 plus times more than like a rival desktop UV printer, right? We know that that ink for other types of printers is not proprietary, so you can generally get cheaper ink. So kind of no shock there, but it's still a big concern. Number 2, the delivery date and non-fulfillment anxiety amongst the community is at an all-time high. Basically, new pledgers are worried about the promised July 2025 ship date. In my opinion, is very unrealistic. I don't see why they would. I mean, I see why they have to give a date, but I don't see why they're not necessarily addressing that right away. Basically, you know, everybody knows that Anchor / Eufy Make has a super spotty crowdfunding record, to say the least. For their past projects. It's very shoddy, you know, it's very spotty. I don't think they're going to make that date. And I think it seems to be one of the biggest concerns on the Kickstarter page. Number 3, we're going to go with the creator transparency and the gatekeeping, man. The comment gatekeeping is actually pretty crazy. A lot of users are reporting that questions about ink usages, long-term support being deleted. I mean, posters are even being removed, like I said, from Reddit and from the Facebook group just because they're raising like their own fears and about questions, and like Eufy makes selective disclosure, especially coming from the promoted users that are promoting this stuff. It's looking pretty bad still. Number 4. There is a lot of concerns around surface prepping. Like Eufy Make or Anchor / Eufy Make, they've made a pretty compelling pitch about like the plug and play compatibility, being able to print on anything, and yet we are starting to see some people complaining about the adhesion of certain types of like elements or certain types of products. So smooth products, smooth things like glass, ceramics, glazed ceramics, etc. Do they need pre-treatment to have a better adhesion? You know, there's contradicting things that are being said and being stated, and the marketing is basically showing that this thing can print on anything and will stick to anything. I know for sure I've seen concerns about like tumblers, for example. A lot of people don't hand wash their tumblers, and there is a lot of concern of how well will the print hold up after being in a dishwasher several times. How long will it hold up? Has anybody done tests on it? You know, will it rub off? Like, is it safe to use it, to eat it? You know what I mean? Is it safe to use it? Stuff like that, for example. The last one, the biggest one in my opinion, which everybody is kind of like, worried about, is the maintenance and the hidden subscription fees. The maintenance I can kind of understand. They have been kind of clear on the maintenance feature, meaning saying that you have to, print, so often in order to avoid having to run a cleaning cycle and things of that nature. And, I think most of the concern is because some people getting this product are actually just like amateur consumers, or like basically like regular consumers. They're not necessarily buying it for a business aspect, versus the people that are getting this for a pure business aspect. I think if you're getting it for a pure business aspect, you really probably won't have much concern or complaints about the maintenance, because you're probably going to be printing pretty regularly, and you're not going to really be worried about it. But for the average consumer, the average person that is just using this as fun, I think they probably have more to be concerned about. Some of the other issues are talking about like the clogged print heads, people complaining about the power cutting out mid jobs. I know I've asked about that on the Reddit, asking about what happens if the printer gets the power gets cut mid job. Will it continue where it left off? Does it have any type of like AI or some type of anything built into the software to continue where the print left off? And the general consensus that I've gotten is no, it doesn't. It's kind of like the Glowforge. If it cuts off mid print, you're SDL, man. You got to just start over. So imagine if you're going through a print that's going to take an hour or longer, and it cuts out mid job, you got to start all over. It is what it is. I would think at this point in the game, 2025, that most of the software could compensate for that, but apparently that's not the case. Other concerns are about hidden subscriptions. I think people are concerned that a lot of the AI textures that surround like the 3D kind of lifted prints are going to be put behind a paywall for like AI credits and stuff like that. Now there are software out there like video editing and stuff like that they do put things like music and other certain things like transitions and things like that, if you do video editing, behind an additional paywall. So this could be something that I think is a really big concern, considering that they're trying to just sell you on the actual product. All right. So I think what this means for like any prospective buyers or backers at this point, like I am, I think that we have some pretty normal concerns. But I think this is some of the things that you need to be really, really concerned about. Number one is the running cost, obviously. We already talked about that. The hobby level or the basic user that's going to be using this, you could outstrip the hardware within months, right? And your print head is gone. So I think they really need to, we need to start asking the promoted creators, let's start asking for like a per square inch, per square centimeter ink usage. Like, give us a table where it kind of breaks down those costs or those concerns. Give us some real digits, before this campaign is over, because it's important. Let's talk about timeline credibility. Obviously, Kickstarter alone has shown that they've got like almost 85% of all hardware campaigns shipping late. It's basic knowledge. You can go out and look for it, look at this information for yourself. A lot of people are just uneasy because, like I said, the July timetable is like 8 weeks away. And I highly doubt, with the number of backers, 22 plus million, I highly doubt that these things are going to ship out on time. So I would request like a chart with like a tooling, pilot run, regular test milestones, especially that for the maintenance. I would request those things so we can have a better idea of what to expect when owning it. All right. Information flow. That's another bullet point that I want to get on. They have to address the concerns and the perception that they're getting about deleted posts, because it's going to destroy your goodwill very, very quickly. People are going to be turned off very, very quickly when they start seeing things like that. I would suggest that they do like a weekly tough question roundup, something on like Reddit, or even like get a Discord where people can pop in real time, or even like a Telegram channel, an official Telegram channel where they can go live and do a Q&A weekly to kind of really get people on board, to show that they're being transparent and that they can answer tough questions live and direct, and people don't have to speculate. Right? The workflow complexity, right? That's another bullet point I want to hit. Let's talk about primer. Does a primer need to be put on anything? Like I said, like extra adhesion for like, these slick surfaces like glass and tile and stuff like that. If primer coats and stuff like that are required to print on anything, really, not just those smooth surfaces. If it is required, then that kind of makes the claim of being able to print on everything kind of half true, right? So I would ask for like videos from these promoters, just comparing like untreated surfaces versus like pre-treated surfaces, right? To basically show like the comparisons and the differences of what you can expect. You know what I mean? For example, like I said, printing something on smooth glass, untreated, and then printing something on the same glass with a pre-treatment, to show, to compare them, like which one is going to be best, right? Again, this ink is expensive. You don't want to go through a lot of trial and error trying to figure stuff out, what works and what doesn't work, because that just means more money out of your pocket. Last thing is like ongoing fees and the reliability of this thing. People are very, very concerned, like I said, about subscription costs, clog risk of the print heads. I haven't really gone into how much these print head replacements are going to cost, which to me is a big red flag concern, considering the price of these printers already. If you didn't get in on the early bird, you're essentially turning a $1,500 printer into like a freaking paperweight overnight if this thing breaks and you can't afford to replace these print heads. Plus the timeline of these print heads lasting is a very, very big concern. If I were them, again, these are tough questions. I would definitely do this on a live Q&A, like a broadcast, like on Telegram or Discord or something, where they can actually get on and say, look, we're going to confirm the warranty length, right? We're going to set the record straight. We're going to talk about the print head replacements, the cost, and the how long they can function realistically before they actually need to be replaced. That's just with like regular usage and regular maintenance. Like the cleaning cycles and whatnot, and whether or not we are going to be certain functions of the software is going to be locked out, by AI credits. If you're going to need to purchase credits, certain amount of credits per month to be able to use those certain types of functions. Like I said, I feel like these are all reasonable concerns. Again, these are all reasonable concerns that I've kind of pulled from like the last couple of days. And I know I'm still going to get a lot of people that are going to try to damage control and say these things have been answered, but just because they give you an answer doesn't mean the answer is sufficient. There's a lot of vague replies from Anchor/Eufy Make that are on the Kickstarter. I'm not saying that they don't reply to people necessarily. Maybe not on, definitely not on the Reddit, and very scarcely on the Facebook. But when they do reply, like on their Kickstarter page, a lot of those answers are not direct. A lot of the answers they give are still very vague. So, again, to me, and in my opinion, the biggest thing that they can do is open a live Telegram or a live Discord and do like weekly tough questions. Have like a little round table thing, so people can feel a lot better about their investment or their potential investment. I know for one, if they can answer these things, I would feel way better about making a decision on jumping in. Anyways, let me know what you guys think. I'm gonna try to reply to every single comment, as I have before. Like I said, I went away for like a couple of days and didn't realize that so many people were replying to the first video. So let's keep it going. Peace.